picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Well, hello, welcome back. It is Monday morning. It is the Monday, not the Monday you're expecting. It is a week from that Monday. I am back from the long weekend. It's actually Labor Day today of 2017. Also the day after my sister Mary's birthday, so happy birthday, Mary, if you're watching this. And I am back from Escape Velocity 2017 up in DC. I was going to originally, apologies up front, I was originally going to post last week's video with the scant amount of work I had done on the saucer first, and then make a separate video for Escape Velocity, but I didn't do it. I'm sorry. So I'm going to mash it all into one and make it last week's build and Escape Velocity. And Escape Velocity is a different kind of convention. It's, yes, there were cosplay people there, but it wasn't a cosplay convention. There were comic book artists there, but it was not a Comic-Con. It is a more or less a science. It's a convention that certainly celebrates pop culture and science fiction and all the stuff that we love, but it is more rooted in the actual science of such things, and it is a fundraising event and an effort to get the groundswell of interest to get an actual museum built that celebrates science fiction in media and how that translates into the real world. Every one of you out there, I'm sure, has a smartphone that was, first it was a flip-up phone for Captain Kirk, and then you're using your cell phone over a satellite system that was developed by Arthur Clarke in a novel. So many of you might even have been in a submarine once or twice, which was envisioned first by Jules Verne before it was made real. So the path that things take from imagination in books and movies and television and then into real life is an interesting one, and that's what this museum will be celebrating. So convention for that, but I was mainly my interest is in taking some of my props and artifacts up to the gallery to show off, and you will see I took copious footage of the gallery, so you will see that. Met some very interesting people, met people that I didn't know that I already had some of their kits. A gentleman there named Clint, who owned a company that made some of the models that I had built. Didn't know that. So now I've got another connection, and if something goes wrong, I can yell at Clint. But met a gentleman who is one of the bare handful of people in America who wears a 3PO costume and is authorized to do so at official events. And he was there with his costume that he had on a mannequin stand for display. And there was a gentleman there from the 501st Division that had his functioning R2 unit there. So long-winded way of saying, let's jump back a week in time, catch up on the flying saucer, and then take a road trip to the nation's capital for Escape Velocity 2017. And then we'll come back and wrap up after that. It's the start of another week here at Aztek Dummy, and it's going to be a weird week. Weird short week because I've got a show this weekend and I'm getting ready for that, and I'm dusting off stuff that I'm taking and pulling it out and checking it and making sure the light's still light and the music still plays and all that kind of stuff. So precious little is going to get done on the flying saucer, but we are going to do as much work as we can on it. I'm down now to the fun stuff of, now that I know everything is going to fit together, I can go in and start customizing, and I want to dress up the interior of that cockpit a little bit more. But first, I want to show you what came in the mail this weekend. Ooh. This is a fun little discovery that I had in the mail. Actually, it is. It is the Discovery. It is a test shot of the upcoming Mobius Discovery Kit. Now, this is, I believe, either a version 1 or a version 2, so I am not positive how much of this, what you see now, will survive to the actual commercial release of the kit. Test shots have a tendency to not be in the color of plastic that the final kit is going to be in, so it may or may not be this gray when it comes out. It may be a white plastic, who knows? Maybe a black plastic, like I said, who knows? generally test shots are done with whatever plastic or whatever liquid styrene is on hand when they shoot the molds. It also means these molds have not been polished, so you'll see a bit of a texture to the parts that will not be evident in the final kit, but you can certainly see the breakdown of what at last count I believe was 471 parts according to the inventory list. And you can believe it when you see all of these. Now, the numbers don't go up to 471 when you have like 65 copies of, part 12. But that's what the gross numberage is. And it does look like it will be available to light up if you want to light the engines and you want to put a light in the cockpit. I know there are aftermarket folks working on interiors for the cockpit. And there's also, what's missing here is the steel rod. I believe there's a 2-part steel rod that goes down the length of the spine to give it the support that it needs. Now, that's going to mean you're going to need to put a power source in the back, probably a battery with a little hatch, and a power source in the front. I don't believe that steel rod is hollow. I believe it is solid. If it's a rod and not a tube, then you are going to have to, unless you want snake wiring up and down the spine, which would look ugly, you're going to have to power both sides individually. Now, there is a 3-part base to it. You can see this here is the base. This is the base part of the 3-part base, and here are the 3 rods that make up a stand. So it's possible that you may want to run wiring up the base of those 2 sections and have everything on one base. I mean, the options are up to you. But I thought you might like to take a look at this before I start clipping parts off of it and cleaning them up and putting them together. Like I say, the nice thing about this kit is the modularity of it. You can have, what is that? That's 6 trees. Yeah, that's 6 copies of the same tree because you find, parts that you need 6 of. So you put one of those on each one of those on each tree, and you make 6 times that. And you only have to make 1 tool, but you get 6 uses out of it. These are the pricey ones because they are individual toolings, and like the head and the base, or the engine part, the engine block was part of this, and it was 2 of that same tooling, so it actually was a little bit cheaper to do that too. But things that are in multiples, it's just easier to make 1 tool do it. But I'm rambling now, so I'll be finished with this, but I thought you might like to see that the Discovery is well on the way. And these are the parts I'm going to be concerning myself with in the immediate future of the saucer. And yes, Elliot, I have taken your advice, and I am dressing up this barrel so that you don't see just a plain old blue light there. I'm going to take the tube and a little bit of some overlap to dress it up, and I'll paint this and epoxy it in place so you won't see the light leak behind it. You won't see all that nasty light leak, and then I'll paint this gunmetal so all you'll see is the light coming out of the barrel. You won't see the barrel lit up, although that is kind of fun. It doesn't look good when it's off, so that's the reason why I don't do that. And I'm going to be dressing up the inside of the cabin. And here is the inside of that cabin. Now, I am pleased to announce that it's been a whole weekend and nothing has sprung out of place or jumped up and broken off, so I'm willing to believe that everything is going to be copacetic on it. Still of a mind about these chair tops, but I may take you up on that as well, Elliot, and replace those 2. Now the fun thing to do is to go in here and paint in the clear lights so that it adds some different colors. And I think I'm going to start leaning more on the greens and the reds than I am, and leave some on white obviously, but I'm not going to be painting too many more blues because I got a bunch of blues over here. So anyway, I'll start throwing some paint at these bulbs and see how well it sticks. Well, welcome back. It is Tuesday and we are continuing work on the flying saucer. Now last night I did get some more work done on the exterior. I was starting to do work on the inside, but I changed gears and worked on the outside. And I've got the weathering done on the top dome to where I like it, and I started putting down some color on the especially in there and in there, and worked on some of the top there to knocked out some of that black. I think I may leave that black stripe under the window as a black stripe and do something else with that. But we're going to turn our attention to the inside today. And the first ugly thing you notice is these windows. I don't know whether I can zoom in on one to show you the problem with them. Is that the indents for them are kind of offset. And the plastic pieces that go in them are, you know, they're fine, but it's going to be an ugly frame when you're done. So there's the window inserts. Come on, let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Come on. Yeah, you can kind of see how they're semi-centered, but there's a sloppy frame around it. So what I thought would dress them up a little bit was to, keeping with the hardware theme of the rest of the cabin with those little nut heads. Yes, I'm going to get 2 more for that, and then we'll have, well, maybe the 4 more I need. Anyway, the nut heads for the chair bottoms, and the metal that's holding the fiber optic manifolds in place. And I'm going to do this. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to paint him or leave him silver, but once I put the clear piece in, I'm going to cover that frame and make it look more like a porthole by simply putting a washer in over the hole. And I think that'll work out just nicely and dress up that inside wall, which really needs some sort of dimension to it. But let's continue playing with detailing the inside walls. Good morning. It is Wednesday. It is functionally the last day I have to work on the saucer this week, as I am packing up for a weekend trip. And so I did the thing I finally been wanting to do for the longest time, which was to take the clear, the Tamiya clears, and go over the gauges. Well, the best way to do that is to light them up and see where the light shines and put your colors over them. They can look a little sloppy when you turn the lights off, but most of the time you're going to leave the lights on. So there. Had consoles that were completely blue, so didn't really feel a need to put too much blue in the other consoles. I did some, but not a lot. And of course those ones that are on the orange bulb. So I'm going to let these dry for a bit and then start working on touching up some paint here and there and putting the seats back in. I am going to go out and get 2 more of those bolts to put here. Let me see, they come 4 to a pack, so I can do these 3 and 1 more up there, but I'm not going to, there's going to be an odd one out because I'm not going to buy another whole pack of them just to get the one that you're never going to see, because it is the pilot's station and you're looking in the window, you're going to see past that console, you're not going to really see the ones that are in the pilot's window. So let this dry and we'll come right back to it now. This inside, I'm also working on putting some more pipes and painting up the details and stuff like that. And I was worrying myself about these guys, painting those, and then by the time you put the top of the saucer on it, they get mostly buried. So we're going to actually see how much of those remain showing before I get too worked up about how much painting needs to be done. Okay, for the last couple of hours, I've just had a little bit of fun with some tube stock and some square stock and some flat stock, and I'm just adding little bits of detail and junction boxes and such like that inside the cockpit just to dress up these bare drab walls. And now I just need to put a nice base coat of paint on them, blend them in so that they look like they've always been there. Okay, I have finished the piping detailing that I'm going to do on the inside, and I need to get this painted. And I'm thinking now is a good time to go ahead and put the windows in as well, because what I want to do is put them in and then glue the washers over the top of them as the window frames, and then I just cut some masks to mask those off so that when I respray the brown in here, the windows will already be in place, and then I can mask them from the outside if I have to spray that color again. But I was thinking that if I went ahead and sprayed this and then put the windows in, then I might end up messing them up or messing up the walls or getting glue anywhere or things like that. And I'm better off doing that now and repainting it only once. I will leave the window frame out, and I've got that here. It's got the window in it. But I think I'll leave that out and glue that in separately because it is easier to bend than the windows would be, and I don't think there'll be as much of a chance of the glue bombing on that. And now that I've got all the windows and the window frames in place, you can see all that sloppy glue behind them. I'm going to put some masking over the frames and those yellow tanks, and possibly that silver bit, and repaint the brown on the wall. Okay, the interior is all nice and brown now, so I'll let that dry and then peel off the masks over those portholes.
Well, there we go. All right, yeah. That's easy. Guys recognize Mystery Science Theater? That's great. Like the little pickle barrel and the bubble machine. Eat. Here's how. Oh, so, yeah. That's awesome. Come in here later and take photographs. That's great.
I remember this guy. What was he from? Oh, thank you.
Always changing.
Actually, that did happen to my wife one time. We were at the Wax Museum
Here in
downtown.
Washington, D.C.
And
I had my arm around the Whoopi Goldberg, and I was,
no, you were just standing next to me. You stopped for a second, and you were looking through your purse for something. And the woman was like, "Who's that lady next to Whoopi Goldberg?" Yeah. All right. So next
I would have played it.
Take care.
yeah, we'll come back later and take photographs.
I would have played along.
I did play along.
I am Vernon. I am no man.
You have fun right here? Sorry? You have fun? Fun? Yeah. I think our friend made this one. Yeah.
You are imperfect. You are imperfect.
Nice. They made it dark so I could try.
That's the aliens.
Where'd they
Kind of lean a little bit in. There you go. That's perfect.
Assume the position.
She's like, watch it. Scrubbing her.
Now see kids, wasn't that fun? Yes, I'm doing this a scant few seconds after the intro. But now is the laborious part of, kind of uncrating everything and getting it back on the shelves and fixing any broken parts. I think everything came through without a scratch, but we'll see. Getting that all fixed up and getting back to working on a little desk, working on the flying saucer for this week. And the Discovery. Haha. Thought I'd forgotten about that. No, I got a first pass of the instructions from Dave at Mobius, so I am going to be working on some Discovery this upcoming video. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm trying to close off one video and start the next one at the same time, and I shouldn't be doing that. So until the next video that you see, be good to each other, and we'll catch you here next time.